Welcome to Talk Art. I'm Sally Rayn, and I will be your host as we delve into the world of artists and the art that's all around us. Talk Art is sponsored by the Silicon Valley Open Studios. During the first 3 weekends in May, hundreds of local artists open their studios to the public. For more information, go to the website, svos.org. Now our guest is Nance Wheeler, and Nance is our wonderful producer here for Talk Art. She organizes all the artist interviews that we do, and she is an accomplished artist herself. She is known for her depictions of ocean scenes and water, and her strong use of color to create mood and energy, yet in a tranquil setting. While her colors and her composition are calming, the textures that she uses really create a very energetic feeling. So Nance, welcome to Talk Art.
Thank you, Sally.
Let's get into a little bit about your background. Where are you from and where have you lived during your life?
Well, I was born and raised in Illinois, and then I moved on to Indiana for college. After that, I came to California, fell in love with California and the ocean, and spent many years there. And then I moved to Japan for a couple of years, and then on to Oregon, and back to California. And since being back in California, I spent a lot of time traveling to Arizona and New Mexico as well. And I think all these places really affect my work and affect my viewpoint as I go to paint things. And in fact, when I went to New Mexico for the first time, it was amazing. I was driving along and I thought, all of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, Georgia O'Keeffe wasn't kidding.
Yes, exactly.
The colors were just amazing. It was like deja vu. It was like I had already been there because I had seen her paintings. It was amazing.
Yes, her depiction of colors in the canyons around Albuquerque where she lived are just gorgeous when you drive along. I totally agree.
I know, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So you look for colors in your natural setting around where you are.
I do, and I look to create, not only use natural colors, but also use color to create a mood.
Great. So what types of paintings do you prefer to paint when you're working?
Well, I love to paint the ocean. I fell in love with the ocean. I do a lot of water, but I do water in almost any form, not just the ocean and the waves, but also the air, the thickness of the atmosphere, the mistiness of a misty day, of a foggy day, these types of things. They really interest me to get the embodiment of the air. And I also want to use my paintings not only to create a thing like the ocean or the air, but to help transition the viewer from wherever they are to, I hope, a better space. You know, people come home from work and they're, you know, it's been a hectic day and they're feeling stressed out. And I like them to be able to look at my painting and get a sense of tranquility or calm, depending on the painting, or maybe they're feeling a little down and they can look at a painting and feel a sense of energy and enthusiasm. And so I hope that my work can help transition the viewer from wherever they are to a slightly better space.
So you're working towards creating moods with your paintings within the viewer and to change the mood of the viewer when they look.
Just to help the viewer get to a slightly better place.
Well, excellent. So what media do you use to accomplish this?
Well, I started out in oils and I learned in oil paintings, but I mostly work in acrylic now, acrylic on canvas, and except when I'm sketching in the field. And for that, I use watercolor just because it's easy to transport. And I work in arid or semi-arid environments, so you know, acrylic can dry so fast it'll stick your brush to the canvas.
Well, yeah.
If you're not careful.
Right. Fanatically wash your brushes too.
Yeah. So I use watercolor in the field. It's easy.
So you show in a variety of locations in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. You're always talking about hanging this show here and that show there. When people view your art, what types of comments do you get and what questions do you mostly get?
Well, I basically get two types of questions. One is about the texture of the paintings. How do I achieve the texture? What's it made of? That sort of thing. And the other is about the color. How do I choose my colors? How do I decide which ones? what color palette do I work from, that sort of thing.
So you brought some items to show us
I
your
did.
techniques. So what is this?
So I wanted to show a few things. Here is just an extra heavy gel, and I just wanted to show you to get the feel of that, how thick this is and how you can make it stand up. See how it actually grips that bit of canvas there. You can smooth it like that, or you can get something more like this is a pumice gel, and you can, I don't know if you can hear the sandy texture.
Yeah, it's actually gritty.
Yeah, it's very gritty, and it'll give you like a masonry type of surface when it dries. So, this is just a small example of a couple kinds of things, and I have a little video to show people a little bit more about texture. Texture effects and how I get them and what do I recommend. So let me just talk about texture a little bit today. First off, in acrylics, you have a big advantage that you can work thick or thin. And here you have a glazing medium. It's very difficult to see because it's extremely thin. And here you have a standard medium, which is just a touch thicker. So you can go very thin like that, or you can go much thicker. Here is a standard gel, and you can see from the side it's got just a little soft texture going there. But if you go to a heavy gel medium, you get a much sharper peak, and it's much higher, and it's really quite stiff. Now you may be able to tell as we move from extremely thin to rather thick, the medium has gone from crystal clear to opaque white. Now that's one way. That's just the natural polymer mediums that you're using there. But you can also incorporate things into acrylic, which makes it extremely versatile. You can incorporate glass bead. This is a medium that comes pre-mixed. It's got glass beads in it, and it gives you like a shimmery effect. And here you can see it just on the paper. Now when you apply that, it looks like you're applying something white, but once it dries, the medium goes clear, and you just see the shininess of the glass beads. And here's what it looks like over on top of a color. You can see that this side has the beads and this side is just the color. Now here's something a little bit larger. These are small garnet stones, and they're very coarse, and of course they have the color of garnet. Now you can see a little bit of the white here, whereas here it looks quite clear, and that's because this is still drying. So it starts out white like the other one, and it'll eventually dry where the medium will go clear, and you'll just see the garnet stones, and they'll be attached to the painting. Now you can paint over these, you can paint over any of these, but if you like that color, you can put them on top. Now this is called a pumice gel, and it's very rough. It feels and it looks a little bit like stone or masonry, and it's extremely hard, but it can be ground or sanded, if you wish, into a form or a shape. But I like to get the final shape while it's still wet. Now this is a black mica gel, a black mica flake. And the black mica flake has a bit of a shine as well as a beautiful gray darkness. And this is gold mica flake. Here's a small gold mica flake, and here's a large one. And these can create beautiful effects in your painting, not only from the reflectance, but from the color itself. And of course, with the traditional tools, you have your palette knives, your brushes, your scrapers, or any other tool you can find at the hardware store. You can create a wide variety of effects in this medium.